women's political representation. With me to discuss this is Ms. Abena Nyameche Ampedu. Mrs. Abena Nyameche Ampedu, a broadcast journalist with City FM. Ms. Augusta Boating, who is a communications consultant and also a gender activist. And Mr. Francis Owusu-Ansah, who works with the general manager of Nimdie FM in the Bronga region. But as they make their submissions, they'll have time. I'll also give them time to properly introduce themselves to us. You are all welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
thank you, Elom.
Okay, you are all welcome.
Thank you.
So I would like to ask my first question. So as I ask the question, before you answer the question, you introduce yourselves properly to us, and then you tell us your current take on the representation of women politicians in the media space. Abena, I'll start with you.
Okay, thank you, and hello to all the other discussants. I'm Abena Nyameche Ampedu. I'm with City FM and City TV. I'm a broadcast journalist, so basically I work in the newsroom, news presentation and reporting and program hosting and on and a matter of things. So talking about the current outlook of women representation in the country and how they are seen in the media. Currently, I would say that there's room for improvement. If you look at the trajectory, let me take it from 1996 to 2016. The women who have put themselves up for elections to be members of parliament. We've seen an increase though, but it is inadequate. Take 2000, 102 women contested various seats as against 986 men. And the increases we've seen over the years are quite marginal. In 2004, there was just 104, 2008, 103, 2012, 133, and 2016, 137. And this is something that tells us that for a country like Ghana and how we want to attain equal gender representation, there is still a lot more that has to be done in improving women participation and also for the voices of women to be heard. Ellen.
Okay, Augusta, do you agree with her?
Is she done?
Yeah, she's done.
Don't like my. Of course I do. And before I even go into it, my name is Augusta Asante Boating, like Elom said earlier, and I am a broadcast journalist. I'm not in I left TV3 2 years ago, but I'm because yes, I do a lot of writing and content for us and for my personal, which is Powerhouse series, where I try to project women and what they do, what they are doing, the trends, the experiences, the challenges that they face in their lives. And yes, what Abena said, I agree with her that there is a lot of improvement that we need to do. I mean, growing up, I did not see a lot of women politicians. I mean, when I hear a politician, it's a man. Growing up, I'm not sure I saw it. But then along the line, the years, things are changing, the narrative. Why? Because even the ones that are sort of being pointed at when it comes to the personal, people are related to their personal life. Yeah, people are trying to, because they are women, and there are lots of conversations that go up women politicians, and we are promoting or we are fighting for, we're advocating for gender equality, saying that we need more women. We should make that competition or that conscious reminder that inclusion and diversity is when you invite me But making me in the party, it's inclusion. You've invited me and I'm eating. There are two different things. So we advocating for women and clapping and applauding women for taking up the stance to be MPs or things of that sort shouldn't end there. We should give them that platform. We should give them that access to be able to do more, for us to know that, yes, the female also has something to bring on board. So yes, I agree with Apuna.
Thank you very much for your submission. Mr. Francis, if you can also get your take, since you are the only man in the panel. Mr. Francis, I think he's having issues. He seems to be having issues with logging in. I think with his network, because he keeps coming in and out. But let's continue. As and when he comes, I'll be monitoring the list. As and when he comes, then he also comes in. So I would like to ask, how accessible is the media space, particularly the electronic media, to women candidates? How accessible is, because I ask this because of on several TV stations, on several programs of national discussion, you don't really see women politicians there. And some have said in our interactions that they are not given that chance to come in on those programs and also talk. Other media people I've also talked to have also said the women don't make themselves accessible in the first place to be given those platforms. So I would like to ask, how accessible is the media to women in politics?
Okay. Let me begin by alluding to what the other media colleagues you spoke to mentioned, that they do not avail themselves as much. This is a problem that among my colleague journalists we talk about. There are women who were elected into parliament since the last 4 years. And you find out that very few people are always out there. What about the others? And somebody will say, the media doesn't approach them. The media does not invite them to talk. But it will interest you to know that some of these women, I don't know whether to say shy away from the media. They don't avail themselves for conversations. There's the talk about, okay, coming to share my views on a particular issue. Okay, let me talk about the issue that has happened today. Since all through yesterday, the Ewutu Senya East MP firing a warning shot at the registration center. We've had her female colleagues, men, talk about it. Let me tell you why maybe a woman MP will not talk about it. She fears it might be seen as she attacking a fellow woman. Right. Meanwhile, this issue at hand is not about her being a woman. It is about being a member of parliament, a minister of state, and her conduct, and all the things that happened at that registration center. But for fear of being attacked, for fear of being misconstrued, maybe I stand to be corrected if there are other reasons, we don't have women who will be willing to comment on an issue. The other time we wanted to invite a woman, to add a woman to one of our panels. And this, we were told that somebody was doing a form of organization to get women to appear on television shows and radio programs and all that. So the program is on Saturday. We called on a Friday. And the lady told us we should have called early in the week. But this is a program, it's a weekly program, and it discusses the major issues of the week. Up until Friday, you will still not be clear about how the week has fared news-wise, because anything can change. But then this woman was unhappy because she says she has to do things in the house and all that. She doesn't have prior notice. But this is something the men jump at. They will come because they understand that every platform adds onto your brand as a member of parliament. So if that person has to stay up all night and research on the topic, they will do it. And Elom, I also see that the problem is because our politicians, some of our politicians, and the women particularly, they don't invest in the communication part of their roles as members of parliament, because you feel you can just, it's either you come and talk, if you don't talk, nobody will say anything. But if you see that communication is important, it adds up to your brand. You get a communication strategist. So if you are head of an institution and something happens, we come to you. There are times, the men, they don't always say the right things. They goof all the time. Sometimes it's just about saying that, oh, we'll look at the issue and resolve it. But you go to the woman and then he said, I will not comment. Looking at the issue and resolving it, it will appear in the news. You might not even do it. But then if you say no comment might not be captured. So these are some of the things that is accounting for the seeming lack of equal space for women in the media as compared to their male counterparts. Let me end here because I can go on and on and on.
Okay, let me continue it, Augusta. Is this from Abina's submission? I am seeing the issue of confidence, that these women feel they are not confident enough, because coming onto a media platform to come and speak is nerve-wracking. It's quite nerve-wracking. Yes, yes, it's quite nerve-wracking. So is it not an issue of confidence?
Okay, Ellen, thank you. And well, it could be, but I was saying, say, when you decide to become a politician or even become someone that will constantly, there will be the need for you to be in the media or to speak to people, it is important to get your communication skills right, or to learn communication skills. It is the basics. So if as a woman I want to be an MP and I say that, well, oh, you didn't give me enough time to research on whatever topic, then like Alan was saying, the men will always prove to be ready, because then it gives them that platform to show exactly what they go for, what did they make the mistake, because they sometimes do. But that will make, so there's this MP, there's this person, even in their mistake, you are getting to hear of them. But I can say that I know MPs that I don't know of, because I see them in the media. They are shy and lack the confidence, or maybe they feel like, well, what if I go and I make a mistake? Like she was saying that someone might think that she is trying to, what the woman did is wrong. Whether a male or female speak about it doesn't necessarily mean that you are attacking her. You speak your truth. You can't get the police station or a registration again. That is, and so as an MP, speaking of this issue on radio anywhere does not mean you are attacking. It means that you are standing by the truth. It means that you are being a man. You are being someone, public servant, being someone that people look up to be credible and to be integrity in the office that they stand in or they sit in. And so yes, I feel that women lack that confidence, and also sometimes they give all to their representative, because when I was working at there are times that women MP, they will not show up. You'll see a representative, oh, MP said that. And that is not right. Good, very genuine reasons why the person may not be able to be personal. But consistently given that platform to not speak, we want you as a person to let us do as the MP, not some representative. So in their communication skills and their confidence. Learning to communicate to people in a way also shows your confidence level. Practices. It boosts your confidence. And, like I said when I started, when you want or position or any position that will bring you to media space, or that will bring you to people, speaking to people, you need to build that confidence, because you will need it. It's a needed requirement. And so we are calling for a lot of representation from women in the arena, but we need women to show us that they are worth it. We need women to show us they're not only saying that, oh, can join but to prove that you really are capable of that opportunity that we are giving to you, not just the message that we want to have gender equality or want to a lot more.
Thank you very much. Mr. Francis, I see you are back online, if you can hear me.
Sure, I do hear you.
Yes. So I was asking if you can introduce yourself and then let us know your current take on the representation of women politicians in the media.
Very well, thank you very much. I must say I'm privileged to be on this platform. My name is Francis. I am a broadcast journalist, a gender activist. And as you said at the beginning, I'm the general manager for a Sunyani-based Nimdia FM. We are in the Bono region, not the Bono half. We are not more Bono half. So you take note of that. We are in the Bono region. Sunyani is the capital.
Okay.
Yes. So thank you very much. So my take on the current representation of women politicians in the media, I would say, honestly, the media has not done much for women in terms of how we should give the space to operate in the media. That is one side of my explanation. The other side is women, including the three of you, have also shot yourselves in the foot in that when we give the platform, it appears for reasons that you all know, it appears you don't take the space that we give you in the media. And so if I combine the two, I would say both ways, both the media and the women together have failed to do enough for women in advancing their interests in politics in Ghana. So this would be my initial comments.
Thank you very much. So following up with that, I would like to ask, do you not also think that the media over the years has also contributed to the low image of women in politics? Because we see media platforms being provided for people to come and denigrate women candidates, where you see women candidates, their marital status being questioned, their beauty, like the concentration on mundane issues rather than the competence and the qualifications of the women involved. Let me start with Augusta.
Well, yes, I would say that the media has contributed to that, because I'll keep going back to my time at TV3. Remember a time we went for a political event, there was a panel discussion, and a journalist, like from a media house, got up to ask a question, and it was very what was like the current topic that we're discussing. But he felt that, well, since you are saying that you want to take up this position, have that discussion with your husband, what are you going to do to balance family life and the office that you want to take? And I felt that was very unfortunate, because it was a high-level program, and it was a journalist to actually ask a very fortunate, let me use that word, very, very good question. Instead, he felt that after that very unnecessary question, where a man will never be, I mean, felt okay to ask that question. And there's been quite a number of issues in the media and mainstream media, well, when there are lots of sexism, lots of name tagging for women in politics, where we feel that women, I mean, know that a lot of conversations go on about women's beauty and the fact that if they are capable, or if they can really juggle the position they're taking with their family life. And I think because let's look at the capability of the person. Like for instance, when Professor Nana Jinokoko Ajiman was elected, nominated, was chosen as vice president, I made a post on my timeline, and someone said, "Oh no! What is she coming to do? Even as an education minister, she failed in that. And so, why are we giving her the opportunity, or why are we saying that she's fit for it?" Because I made a comment that women are capable of taking up positions like that. And I told the gentleman that if you go back to see what this woman has achieved, her gender would not stand in the way. Even if she failed as an education minister, which I don't want to talk much because I've not read much about it, the idea that we are giving a woman the chance to also come and prove herself, whether token, which I was not right if you say that, or she's a token at the end to get more votes. The idea that women are being presented with the platform chance, to me, is a step in the right direction. Does a lot to the decisions that people make, because we get to know the bad, the good, the ugly through the media. And so when the media start projecting women as not a capable position because of the agenda, it registers in the mind of the ordinary Ghanaian. Oh, even and it would surprise you to know that a lot of people, I don't know, but they see the media people as like, I don't know, but when a media person says something, they feel like, wow, that's it. And so an ordinary person will hear something from someone on the news, a presenter, a host, and think that, well, if this is what this man is saying, then I think it's right. Then it registers in their mind. And so I think that the media has a huge duty to do to give women the benefit of doubt and move away from the idea that, I mean, using physical beauty or using the gender of women to discredit their capability and their achievement towards whatever position or seat that they are aspiring for.
Thank you very much. Abina, I would like to ask, why do certain media houses concentrate on such mundane things such as a woman's beauty, her marital status? Is it because of issue of ratings, views? Why? Because you don't see that being done to male candidates or male politicians.
Indeed. I think that, first of all, let me say that no credible media house will toe that line and allow their platform to be used to denigrate women or to look down on a woman's achievements because of probably a failed marriage or because the person is unmarried and all of that. This mindset of seeing women as how well have you performed in your home? So how are you balancing work life and family? Are you sure you can do this? You have children and all that. I think it's the mindset, something that for a very long time has come to be with us. Dating from the gender assigned roles. So a woman is believed to be the one taking care of the home in our African setting. This is a mindset that gradually we are moving on, but there's a lot that needs to be done. If that presenter comes from a background where he sees, mostly it's the men who do that, where he sees that the woman is only supposed to be taking care of children and the home, the woman should not stand at par with other men to contest a particular seat. That is what informs this mindset, and that will push that person to ask a question, given a platform as a journalist to change the narrative. But they don't do that. So it is from the backgrounds, and that is what also makes a politician or an opponent sit on radio and say that, what can this woman do? She's not even beautiful enough. What has beauty got to do with it? We need to move the conversation from gender to competencies. We shouldn't say,
exactly.
Elom is a woman, so if Francis can do ABC, let's measure Elom at A only. It has to be at the same level, because we are all equal. God created both of us in his own image. The fact that I am a woman, there's childbirth in the process, which involves a lot of the woman and not the man, among other things, does not mean I am not capable enough. If you go to a media house as a leader, a woman leader or a politician, and that media house asks those questions, immediately you have to blacklist that outlet. If somebody, you hear that your name is being muddied, not based on your competencies, but they are saying that, oh, you're a woman, you know nothing, you know very little, go to a credible media house and make the things right. You have every right to correct it. You don't leave it and say, oh, they are saying all these things about me. That's how every journalist is. Of course, there are bad nuts in the system. So if you find a media house that is not worthy of being part of this noble profession, being the fourth estate of the realm, Augusta mentioned that people take issues from the media very seriously. Indeed, because from the presidency, parliament, the judiciary, the next is the media. The media is supposed to inform and educate people to straighten society. So if somebody hears anything on the radio, we've heard in countries where civil wars were started based on broadcasts on the radio and then television. So people take everything the media says very important. And that is why we cannot let the citizens down. We cannot let our women down. We shouldn't allow that to happen. And if you're a woman, you hear that radio station A or B is saying all those things about me, go to the other platform and correct it. Don't let that be your story. Don't let them define what you can do. It shouldn't happen. You shouldn't accept that. You need to make things right. Change the narrative, change the conversation to suit your competencies and what you can do, not about your gender.
Thank you very much. Mr. Francis, I would like to ask, yes, I would like to ask, I noticed that there are several women politicians who do not feel comfortable with platforms such as TV, particularly the electronic media. Which other forms of media can women politicians take advantage of to promote themselves if they are afraid of being cast in a bad light by the electronic media?
Yes, I believe we are referring to mainstream media. Radio and TV, I believe is what we are referring to. So in the absence of the mainstream media, of course, we have the modern day media, which we refer to as social media. And so we believe that the social media is a platform by which women can adequately sell themselves, promote their image, their ideas, their philosophies, among others. I say so because if you look at how we are using social media, it appears Ghana and to some extent Africa, they are not there yet, but we can. Yes, we can. And so I believe that women in politics, and for that matter, women in any other form of leadership, should be resorting to social media to enhance their image, to espouse their ideas, philosophies, among others. And that I think strongly can go a long way. I say this because if you look at the audiences that social media attracts, and if you look at the negatives people are putting out using social media platforms, I think we should start thinking about putting social media into the right perspectives, and especially to the advantage of women. Going forward, I would strongly suggest that women should make good use of men. Let me repeat, women should make good use of men. Apart from making good use of men as husbands and probably brothers and probably as fathers, when it comes to security, it comes to script writing, it comes to communication, all these things, men can fit very well when it comes to putting issues together behind a woman. So I strongly suggest that women should be looking at, yes, of course, use social media, and also using men as they should be used. So this would be my take on this.
Thank you very much. Abena, how powerful is social media to promote women candidates? Because a lot of our women politicians are not really active on any social media platforms. How powerful is social media, especially in a country like Ghana when it comes to the issue of politics?
Today we were having a conversation, and then we're saying that if you look at the 2016 elections, the build up to the 2016 elections, there was social media and everything. But currently, the power of social media and how many more Ghanaians are using social media, there are very discerning people on social media, and social media is driving conversations for mainstream media, not just in Ghana, the world over. Things begin on social media. So if you're a woman politician and you do not have a social media account, I don't know if you are really serious about your craft, because that's what it is. Now you have mainstream media, television networks, newspapers, radio stations investing in social media. They have lots of airtime 24/7, but they know that they cannot miss out in that space. So it tells you how important and how powerful that tool is. Now, for a woman politician or a leader, or even if you're a young woman and you have dreams of taking up a political office or any form of office in future, this is where you start. You don't wait and say, I want to contest in 2024. So that's 2024, that's when I'll begin and putting myself out there and building my brand. No, you don't start like that. First, you need to know, not everybody is conversant with social media. It takes time. But that is how come we have people who have learned the craft. And it doesn't cost much to have somebody man your social media page for you. It has to be somebody you trust, somebody you believe in. So if you wake up in the morning based on the topical issue, I'm not saying you should have an opinion on everything, but something should interest you. As a woman leader or as a young lady coming up, we have been with COVID-19 for about 4 months in Ghana, since March. What have you done? Have you educated people on wearing face masks? Have you shown the people in your community how they can wash their hands effectively? Why they should practice physical or social distancing? That is how you build it. If a TV station will not cover you educating people on hand washing and wearing a face mask, social media will. Social media will. You can always post your videos and somebody will definitely notice you. The more people talk about you on social media, the more you get attention on mainstream media. So it is something that they just cannot slack on. And whilst you are doing that, you need a communication strategist. I think that in our part of the world, very few people invest in having teams. So you are an MP. You need they just focus basically, take the role of the personal assistant and maybe just one person who will move around, like the person who showed up at TV3 for that program. But you need a communication strategist, you need a social media manager, you need a core team around you. If an issue breaks out, by this time, you can't tell me that you're a woman leader and you don't know the things that are happening in Ghana. You need to listen to the news. You need to watch news broadcasts. You need to follow issues so that when a media person calls on you, it wouldn't be as though, oh, I'm not ready. I don't know what it's about. Once you are representing people in Ghana's parliament, you should be willing to know. As a young woman, you intend to occupy a position someday, you should know. So women have to invest in our craft, whatever it is you are doing. of course, money is a challenge. The men have more money than us. But the little that you have, you need to make use of men and also the people around you. I'm sure there's that lady in your neighborhood or in your church who is a graduate and doesn't have a job. That person is staying at home. Let's say every month you can afford to give her like 500 cedis. She's not going anywhere. She can work from home and man your social media page for you. You know a journalist or you see Augusta here, she can manage your communications for you. It doesn't have to be full-time. Until you see that these things are important for you to invest in, you will end up doing something very great in your constituency, but nobody knows you. So for social media and investing in your craft, hello, I think we cannot emphasize it enough. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We are saying all these things, how big social media is, how the issue of communication is a big deal. But how come women, not just women in politics, how come women, apart from millennials and then the Generation Z people, how come women are not big with issues, are not big on the issues of communication? What is the reservation we have as women or amongst our peers? What is the reservation that we keep having with the issues of communication? Is it superstition? Is it, Augusta, if you can help me out?
Okay. I'm not sure it's a superstition. I don't know. But like Now was saying, I mean, women, well, for me, let me just start with my work with women. And I've noticed, so I've worked or I've encountered a lot of women in leadership and even young women that are coming up. And listen to them, know that there is this lack in their communication, how effectively that's on information, they lack that. And it all boils down to the confidence and also the fact people in a rush of people just want to be efficient or just want to get to a certain place, but not really ready to take on the very necessary things and the very necessary tools that is needed when you get to that place. So like you're saying, when I started talking to women, you realize that there's this gap between communication for men and that of women. And I think it's self-confidence and also the lack of the idea that communication plays a vital role in whatever you find yourself doing. It could be a politician, it could be anything. Even a normal conversation with somebody, if I do not know how to communicate well, someone might misunderstand me, someone might misconstrue what I'm saying or misinterpret it because of how I communicated, right? And so communication is a very vital. So that maybe women are not confident enough or do not really understand the impact of communication in whatever that they do. And so for politics, is what our next project is actually to have of communication training for women. Activities of communication training. Women need that. I mean, there's a difference between talking and communicating. I can talk right now, but I will not make any sense or I will not send any information valuable. But communication goes beyond just speaking. Communication goes beyond just, and so yes, maybe it's superstition. I lack of confidence and understanding of the impact of communication in our life or in whatever position that we want to undertake.
Thank you very much. Mr. Francis, as one of the few male gender activists, with your position as the general manager of a station, I assume you wield a lot of power. So with such a position, how can the media help change the narrative that we have about female candidates and women in politics as a whole?
Yes, first and foremost, the media deals with space. And so where we give space is where the focus of the society is. And so as a partisan journalist, I would say the first thing that media should be doing is to be looking at giving more space to women issues, giving more space to women themselves. I believe if that is considered, honestly, we could be doing more for our women. It appears the media, operators in the media industry have a mindset against women. That is my opinion anyway. And so all the things that we do in our operations are geared towards inviting men to our platforms. You have very few platforms, the media platform, producing content that will require the input of women. And so at the end of the day, you see the media almost giving all our say out to men because it appears they are in power, they have the money, they appear to have the men and women rallying behind them. And so space must create, or space must be considered as a very key element that women must have and have them in abundance. Secondly, we should be discussing, first and foremost, we should be generating topics that also revolves around the qualities of women, the abilities, and when I say the abilities, both the natural, the social, academic abilities that women have, that we could tap into to ensure the growth of our society. Unfortunately, almost all the topics that we deal with as media houses, again, goes around the men, coach. And so we leave our women behind. And so as a media practitioner, I would love to see many of us generating and discussing and focusing on topics, issues that require the input of women. And by so doing, we will be helping our women a lot more than we're doing now. Honestly, we have been talking about this for several years, but yet we should avoid stereotyping. For me, I don't like using the word managers. What is managers? The position is to manage. And so if we are managing, whether a male or a female, the person is managing. And whoever is managing is a manager. We shouldn't have a manager and a manageress. We do so, and then we cite ourselves against women right from the onset. So certain words are in a way also fighting against the growth of women. And so if as media, we having the power to educate, as Abna was saying, we'll try to avoid using certain description for women. That also will go a long way to help in bringing up our women to a level that we require from them, to a level that they already have. But we, the men, are trying to suppress them, and that is most unfortunate. Again, I strongly believe that the media should avoid creating the houses. We'll be talking about marriage issues. Marriage issues, when we are discussing issues that are supposed to be focused on developing our nations, we seem to be looking at the soft side of women almost all the time. Children, childbirth, marriage, that is not helping. Of course, I'm not saying that we should not be looking at the soft side of men and women in authority. But then, when we are looking at developmental issues, we tend to bring in that soft aspect of women, especially when a woman is aspiring to be a leader. We tend to bring in that equation that how can he manage that position while she's married or she's having children at home. That is not helpful at all. If a woman offers herself for a role, we should look at her as a human person that is equipped to deliver, period. We don't do that often to men. If a man decides to go for any lessons, we support them. We don't ask the men, are they married? How many children do they have? And that is not helping our women at all. So I believe that in my small way, if we are to focus on these three steps, we could be doing a lot more for women who are running for positions in our society.
Thank you very much. Abina, what's your take on that too, on how the media can help change the narrative about female candidates and women in politics?
I think Francis has said it all. The media can do a lot more by focusing on women issues, sometimes we lack sustenance when it comes to following the story through. Not all media houses are able to do that, but if they are able to sustain the conversation, it will really help. And so that is one thing that women can do, if the media can do. So if we're talking about women representation, encouraging more women, we need to make sure that we get things that are sustainable. We are also looking at the affirmative action bill, if it's eventually passed. We'll see how that will also go a long way to support the issues of women. And also public education. Francis mentioned the stereotypes and all the other things that are not really needed, saying that, oh, so she's a female police officer, she did A, B, and C. We do not need that. The media can help in educating the public that once the person is occupying the role, the gender does not really matter. We shouldn't look at her being a woman or a man in managing or assessing his or her performance and influence the society. And also, the media can also partner organizations like GenSed in mobilizing a lot of the public support and public education for women campaigns. As we are going into the 2020 elections, I look forward to seeing what GenSed will be doing for the women who are contesting, and we'll see how that goes along.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to ask, when it comes to the issue of gender stereotypes against women, we all know that they have been with us for a very, very long time. NGOs such as ourselves have been involved in so many projects, public education activities to get to try to change these perspectives that we have about women in politics. But as you said, we still realize that platforms are still provided for people to come onto spaces to denigrate women candidates. So I just want to ask a very controversial question. Do you think that the issue of regulation must come in, as in regulating our media houses and media spaces, so that this politics of insults, denigration, and all these things come to an end? Because when there's regulation, media houses may be up and doing and be very careful about the type of people they allow onto their platforms to come and insult women. Augusta, your take.
The insulting women is so funny and very simple. Well, is it controversial? I think it is a very important conversation that is a very needed thing that the NCA need to put in place. Like I was saying earlier, the media is the fourth rep of estates here in the country, and it plays a major role. The media is an entity, it's an agency, and as any other institution or company, it has to go by rules, and so the media needs to be regulated. I think I saw someone post that when this issue of the gunshot at the registration center, that we need to have, because, well, I heard some people in the media houses were talking about it and people were insulting her. I mean, what she did is uncalled for, especially looking at her position or as an MP. But when you insult her on mainstream media, also not the right way to go, because then it normalizes the story that we said, oh, well, we said it. Women are emotional. Women can't take certain things. Women are throwing things out of proportion, which may be true. And using that platform to talk about that is in a way normalizing the stereotype women face. And so, yes, I believe that we need to regulate it. That we know, because see, I hardly watch TV nowadays. I'm a journalist. I hardly watch TV. I would rather read it on the internet, because in some few instances where you listen to radio and they can't mean arguments that you hear about to women, I don't know. Sometimes I get so angry, like my emotions just rise, and I'm like, oh, let me just put it off, because I might just say something in my head, or even get angry at the next person sits. Because people take so much interest in what the media brings out, and so sit radio to actually insult not women alone, insulting human beings, people. It's the right way to go. Then you are not good, or you are not better than the person that has done the wrong. You're not better off than them. And so yes, we need to regulate the media, know what to do. And if anybody goes contrary to the media house, the journalists, whoever that did that should be penalized, so that it serves as a deterrent to others. We need a clean space. We need a clean media space. We need a media space that is devoid of, or that is credible, that is fair and open to both genders. So yes, we need to regulate the media space.
Thank you very much. Mr. Francis, you also believe it's about time the media was regulated to bring to sanitize our media space and to protect the image and reputation of people?
Yes, in my opinion, I really think the regulations are there. Unfortunately, we are not respecting the rules of engagement. That is the whole issue. We have the small regulations that as a community, as a people, as a nation, we should be respecting. It's not about so many rules and regulations in a country or a nation, but the respect for humanity, the respect for ourselves as a people. That is the issue with Ghana and Ghanaians. I believe we may not even need more other rules. Rather, if we as a people will re-engineer our mindset to respect ourselves, respect motherhood, respect womanhood, respect fatherhood, respect authority, if we respect nature, if we respect authority, and I can tell you 100% that we may not need a single law or rule again in Ghana, and we can make it and make it very well. And so I believe that as a people, the time has come for us to probably re-engineer our thinking, our mindset, our actions and inactions, and ensure that we get the best from ourselves as a people. And that will be all.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Augusta, do you believe that the issues of these narratives about women are those narratives powerful enough to change the minds of people at a poll, to determine how people vote? For example, if I go to a polling station, I'm supposed to vote, there's a woman candidate on the ballot. Are those narratives about women in the media powerful enough to stir people from voting for women and vote solely for male candidates?
So yes, let me just, something that I saw, yes. So data from media, data from global media monitoring project is reliable worldwide space or organization that media and women in politics shows that media sexism and these narratives and stereotypes, it in a way has an effect of polling results or when it comes to elections. And even if I get into, let me just use this very simple example. If something about you, oh, Elom, you know, Elom is so, Elom gets angry easily. I mean, when certain things are said about you, I may not know you personally, or I may not even be able to come to you to ask or to get to know you to verify that if there's that kind of perception in my head. There's notion that, well, Elom is hot-tempered. Elom gets angry easily. Elom, you know, like that thing registers in our mind so easily. And when the media as an entity that is supposed to educate and inform the public, is contributing to these toxic narratives about women, then it is true that it has that great effect on the perception of people that, well, listening to TV, and this woman was asked about how she's going to juggle her job between being an MP and a mother taking care of the home, but she didn't give any good response. So in my head, whilst I'm thinking, what if I vote for her and she comes because of family duty, she's not able to actively give us the result that we need? That, to me, has been an influence from the media. Then I would say, well, let me give it to a man who is always ready to do it. A man who that domestic duty, which boils down to gender roles. That, well, I know men always have the time. Men will prove it. Men will prove their work. Just give it to the man because of that maybe news item that I read on the news, based on the fact that the woman may not be able to balance her family life and the office that she's been given. So yes, I believe that the media contributing to this toxic narratives very really huge influence on the perception, or on the what do you call it, on the ways that people would want to vote. Because you see, people have very weird reasons to vote. Some people vote because the person is of the same tribe. Some people vote because the person is in the picture. Some vote because of family tradition. Oh, father is an MPP, so I vote for MPP. People vote for very weird reasons. Mm-hmm. So the people would vote because of toxic narratives from the media.
Thank you very much. Mr. Francis, as a man, has any narrative or any perception about any woman ever influenced your votes before, or giving a woman your vote?
Yes. I think I was once a member of a certain social club, and there was a time for election for executives, and one of the contesting candidates have tried to use, excuse me to say, the physique of the only female candidate to score some 30 points in quote. Even though the lady was not initially my preferred candidate, I had to support her because of the way my fellow men were just trying to run her down because of her physique. This is what we are believing going for the media and Ghanaians as people should be doing. So yes, I will say I've had an experience for where a fellow man had wanted to use the physique of a fellow contestant to run her down and probably score some point there. And so that influenced my decision to rather vote for that woman because I felt if even the woman was not fit for that position, it shouldn't be based on how she appeared, on how she
Hello. Oh, it's my network.
I think his line is breaking. Mr. Francis. Yes, I think his line is breaking.
Yeah, you hear me now?
I can hear you.
And so yes. So I rallied behind the woman because a fellow man has spoken against her, and that was not good at all at that time.
Okay. Thank you very much. I would like to ask, as we are preparing for elections this year, do your various media outfits have any plans or any programs geared towards women candidates to promote themselves, to highlight them? I guess I'll start with you.
Okay.
No, I forgot that I muted my.
No worries.
So, as I said when I was introducing myself, I said that I left mainstream media a couple of years ago, and now I have my own communication firm. Very young, that we have a lot of projects that we want to undertake for the development and girls. And so, even when I was talking, I made mention of the fact that we are looking to start training for women in communication, to run communication skills training for women politicians, so that they are able to actually project whatever policies, whatever project that they have articulately for the public. And we are looking at doing it in different languages. We're trying to bring in people from right, so that they're not only doing it in English, people would also be able to translate those skills in their local languages. Because you know of the people that are going to vote, the remote areas who do not have access to the internet, who do not understand English language, able to comprehend it well. So yes, as far as we are doing, we're going to take it community levels where we are placing all these things, all these communication skills into different languages, so that we are able to really that matter the most in this area.
Okay, Mr. Francis, I come to you also. What special programs or plans does your media house also have in place to promote women in politics as we are coming to vote this year?
Yes, thank you very much. So in the run-up to election 2020, I've had a lot of discussions with my program producers, production team representatives, that first and foremost, we try as much as possible to give more space to women who have put themselves up for elections. Secondly, we should respect women as people who are partners in developing our communities. And ultimately, we intend to, from August onwards, we intend to run a series of specific programs that is targeted at our women to ensure that they have a space to also project their image, sell their ideas, to ensure that they are taking their right positions in our communities. Let me quickly put across that I think a couple of years back, myself and my station had some engagement set where, years back, just last year, I believe, we had engagement with Gen Z, we partnered where we ensured that the voice of the woman was heard. And I can assure you that, or I can report to you that the feedback was good. And so going forward, I strongly believe that once again, beginning from August, if things are put right, we could come back to Gen Z and other groups with women at heart to partner us so that we do a lot more once again to ensure that women take their right positions in the community. And so yes, as a media practitioner myself, and on behalf of my media house, we are very willing and have had a series of discussions to ensure that we give enough space for women to ensure that they protect their image as wide as possible.
Thank you very much. I would also like to ask, what advice would you give women candidates on, in the sense of projecting themselves positively in the media as we are preparing for elections? Because it's always around this time, as we embark on campaigns, that you tend to hear a lot of negative things and focus on the most unimportant things. So how can women project themselves or position themselves in a way that will be very positive, where the positivity would outweigh the negativity as we prepare for elections? I'll start with Augusta.
Okay.
At this point, we all need positive energy towards the, because when we started the year, we all had very high hopes of what we wanted to do. I'm sure Gens had so many plans drawn that they wanted to undertake, and then plans and all that. And so yes, we need positive energy around us at this point. But one thing I would say is that I am a very firm believer of what skills can do in building your brand or being positive in the people. And skills in the sense that I believe that when someone they need very good skills or skills to be able to project whatever that they want to do, or even become credible for people to believe in. And so at this point, like you're saying, there's going to be a lot of counter arguments, a lot of insults. Yes, I made mention of opposition and all that. But one thing I want women to understand is that place of emotional intelligence and emotional management is very key, where you really take time to understand whatever that's going on. I mean, you can hear something about you, and the next moment you want to respond, and you also want to let the other person know that yes, you're also there. You can also respond to them in that same tone or that same manner. We are able to learn the place of emotional management, learn the place of emotional intelligence, where you don't always have to give a clap back to whatever, because then it's going to be used against you. Now, what one will do from now to the election day is going to be like a measure for the person. And so yes, they need to have that emotional management skill. And also, women should be able to make social media and make good use of it in a positive way. See, we advocating for equal representation. I'll keep saying, and if at this point there's that to be an MP or to be a politician, to take up that seat, prove that you are worthy of that, and not like be different from what we've experienced before. Be different. Emotional intelligence to me is a major key. Is a major key. There are things that you even do outside of social media, because like we were saying, everything we want to put it on social media. Or someone insulted me, let me use the same platform that they used. It could be true to defend your name, but just take a second thought about, is it really worth it at a time that I know that whatever single thing I do is going to be used to measure my competency, or to even measure me the polling, because someone was, oh, this woman made that very unfortunate comment when said there was someone made a comment, and so I would rather not vote for her. So for women to protect themselves positively, let's learn the emotional intelligence and tread cautiously. I mean, you may be in a position or you may be in a ruling party, but let us do politics and where we're going to score points for and favor from our party. But let us be credible. Let us have integrity as a person, even before the.
Thank you very much, Augusta. Mr. Francis, I also like your take on how women can project themselves positively as we are entering into campaigning and for election 2020.
Yeah, very well. So quickly, as a radio presenter myself over the years, I have realized that most of the times when women are campaigning, there's a line that they love to use. I am a woman. I am a woman. No. You are running for a position. You are a candidate. You are a contestant. So tell the people, I have come to you for your power, for your mandate, as one of you. Perhaps you can say as a member of the community or as a member of society, that women should try as much as possible to also avoid promoting that sort of statement that I'm a woman, I'm a mother. Some of them didn't go to some saying that I have a big breast, so all of you can come and drink. That is wrong. If we are running for, yes. You say in G, you say, that is not helping us to see the woman in the less that we should see them. And so if a woman is running for a position, they should as much as possible try to avoid certain statement that in a way go against them. Then again, as my fellow discussant have already noted, we should try, as women should try as much as possible to use all the tools available, all the tools are at their disposal. If it is social media, they should use it. If it is the mainstream media, they should. Radio and TV in Ghana now are two things that you cannot avoid as a leader. They must use them. And then again, I said earlier on, women should use men. Women should know how to use men, because naturally there are certain things that men can do easier than men. Women should have the ability to identify men who can rally behind them 100% and go with them. That to me will go a long way to ensuring that women take their positions in our communities, and especially as we head towards election 2020. It's unfortunate that our political parties do not have room to ensure that women have the opportunity to make their points known to the electorate. So probably going forward in the future, we should impress upon political parties to ensure that a lot more women run for parliament. A lot more women are given opportunities to become ministers, to become CEOs of state institutions and the likes. But then the battle begins with women. They should learn and know how to develop themselves, promote themselves, and know how, as my side just said, emotional intelligence is very key. Women should know how to identify people who are against them. Women should know people who are willing to rally behind them and inflow them. When that is done, in the next 10, 20 years, we could be seeing leaders in various positions that we all love. Myself, once, I would love to one day see a president with the name Mrs., an IGP with the title Mrs., a vice with the title Mrs. I would love to see that one day in Ghana. Probably I become a politician if I see more women ready to take up positions in parliament, in state institutions, and the likes. And that will make Ghana a better place to live and happy for us all.
Thank you very much. So beyond the women themselves, what can the media also do to project women positively during our election year? Augusta?
I would say two things. The media, well, you know, when Abena started talking, she made mention of the fact that when the women are not willing to come on shows when they are invited, and will be given a whole lot of excuses after with that, where I women for my life, and you know, I'm going to I'm taking care of my kids. They gave so many reasons why they cannot show up. But that does not also mean that the media should forget about it when it comes to fashion. I mean, we have a lot of women who are learned about some of the discussions that we see on TV with panel. There are some women, there are a lot of women that are capable or that are learned in that field who can speak on it. So one way that the media can project women positively. Can you hear me, Elo?
I can hear you.
So one way the media can project women positively is to involve them in is to involve them in discussions, in conversations around this time. I mean, let us see some women in the panel. It gets so old fashioned when they are on the panel. There are women that are learned, can involve them. Let us know what we think about the particular issue that is being discussed in the media. Let us involve women. That way, that is in a way projecting women positively. So we at that, okay, so this woman only knows something about knowledge about this aspect. Then we are promoting them, their brand. Is that the media needs to promote gender sensitive reporting, reporting and writing, even for journalists, editors, photographers, even have a role to in promoting reporting. We don't always have to hear about the women. Judge women based on their private life as against the position or the they are fighting for. And so, before we promote generative reporting.
I didn't really come, but let me move to Mr. Francis. Your
Right.
take on how the media can also help to project women in a positive light.
Yes. So just as I espoused initially in my remarks, more space must be given to women issues. Men who are playing key roles in the media industry must learn to respect women as persons. Men who are in authority must learn to give equal opportunities to women at workplaces, and in this regard, in our media spaces. For example, you see or you attend workshops, and almost all the attendees are men, when women should be also allowed to partake. Sometimes you go for some training, some workshop which are for women, and then you see a man attending. Even though as activists we could be attending such programs to come back to do our campaigns, but then you realize that the man who is supposed to delegate a person for a training thinks a man should go. That's not fair. We should make sure we fill positions that are meant for women with women and allow them to compete with the men for the positions when they qualify. Again, we should be avoiding things that we say that discourage the young one from looking up to women. If you come to our cultural setting, when a woman is firm, we refer to that person as Ya Santua, Oba Dindin, Oba Neniase Din. So when a man is firm, what is the title for that man? When a man is firm, we say the man is firm. But when a woman is firm, we tend to give descriptions. All these things, unfortunately, are coming from our learned men. That should cease. That should stop. And by so doing, we are going to help. And then my last take, because we in the media believe we are the power, we think we can use the power to suppress the interests of women. If indeed women are our mothers, if indeed women are our sisters, if indeed women are wives, the time has come for men to ensure that we rally behind our women who have the capacity, the academic background, the social standing to go for every position that is available for the taking. And by so doing, the media could be promoting the well-being of our women. Thanks.
Thank you very much for your submissions. We have about roughly some 20 minutes more, but we will quickly wrap up around here. So Augusta, I would like your last words, your advice to women and the media, women candidates and the media as we prepare for elections this year.
Right. Thank you. So, in 2020, there's a whole exploitation election. People are, let me use the word wow. People are wow. People are really expectant of the outcome of this year's election. So,
very wild, very.
I'm telling you,
Very wild. I'm even scared.
from what in the major parties, people are really wow.
Mm-hmm.
People will do just about anything to make sure that they get a seat. But my advice to women is that we as myself and my other gender activists, like our fine gentleman, we are pushing, we are advocating for gender equality. We are saying people of taking up political roles or taking up leadership. And so my advice to them is that we don't have the that well, whatever we are, the well, is to disgrace us, is to not use their personal, because no, see, people say that, well, I'm doing it for Ghanaians. Now they have personal agendas or motives.
Mm-hmm.
But to the women, prove to us that what we are advocating for, the agenda pushing is the wow. Women are capable of making mistakes of the past. And women are capable of political positions. Actually, woman in a only use man in a woman to the task that has been given to them. And so my first advice is women, let the world know that whatever the agenda we are pushing for in the political space is worth the while, with integrity and credibility, with honesty. Let us prove that it's worth the while. And to the media, the only thing I would say is that, well, our president is an advocate or an ambassador for gender equality, and let's do our bit to promote women participation, women leadership, and all the things that are given important in giving space to women and projecting women's capabilities as against their private life. Let us use platforms to project women for positions as human beings, as people capable, and not just gender-based positions or aspirations. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your last words. Mr. Francis, your last words and advice for the media and women who are running for office this year.
Yes, so my advice to the media first is we should respect women, ensure that we have given them adequate space, ensure that we avoid stereotyping, and then rally behind those who qualify, not because we know them, not because they are men, but because they are capable of leading the people to ensuring development. To our women, my advice is they should believe in themselves. They should ensure that they have the right people around them. Thirdly, I want women to use men to their advantage because God created men for women. And so women should use men to their advantage. Women should ensure that if they are willing to run for elections, some men are ready to go with them. Of course, the other women are also willing to rally behind fellow women. And so women should know and identify people who are willing to rally behind them. Women should have self-confidence that, yes, they can also in the possibility to ensure that they link up with bodies such as Jen said, who are always available to ensure that they have the platform to promote and enhance their image and brand. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your submissions, and thank you very much for making the time out of your busy schedules to engage us in this very important conversation. As you all know, it's an election year, and Jen said this webinar is part of a series of activities that we are undertaking to address women's issues and to the participation of women in politics. So these will continue as we gear up for elections. So I would like to thank you very much And I would like to thank our audience on Facebook too, who are tuned in. And we thank you very much for your time, and we will see you another time. Thank you very much, Augusta. Thank you very much, Mr. Francis. Jen said we'll continually engage you on such topics and more. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.